Good afternoon. It's October the 17th. I'm Joey Only, and this is your look at weather for the week. Please subscribe, hit like, share, and help me grow this channel. It's been growing pretty fast because of the strength of my shorts. However, it's these videos that are actually the important ones I want people to be watching. And here's looking at radar scope this morning. We got heavy rainfall coming into Vancouver Island, and it's going to get a lot worse. 100 to 200 millimeters of rain anticipated in this giant storm. They call these things atmospheric rivers. People hate that word. They're like, they never used to call it that. Well, get over it. We call it that now. We've called it that for 30 years. That's what it is. It's an atmospheric river. And it's because of the remnants of what was a super typhoon, Bolavan, that is now got caught in the jet stream, is stretching out across, and moisture from Hawaii and this typhoon, Bolavan, it's no longer a typhoon, are what's going to be hammering British Columbia. But after this wet period we're going to go through, we're going to get into a cold period. That's what we're here to talk about also today. Inland Vancouver Island, 80 to 120 millimeters of rain, heaviest expected over northern sections by Gold River. That's today. Very strong winds, 90 to 110 kilometers an hour. Localized power outages. A potent fall storm impacts the BC coast. Southeasterly winds will reach speeds of 90 kilometers an hour, gusting over 110. Winds will ease over Haida Gwaii. What's we got up by close to Smithers, not quite Smithers inland, north coast inland, including Kitimat. Localized flooding probable, 50 to 70 millimeters of rain there. Robust Pacific weather system will move on shore. Rain will start off lightly and gradually intensify through the day. This rain will be heavy. How much of this will come in the BC interior? Well, not a whole lot into the BC interior itself. It'll be mostly affecting the coast, but it will spill some of this rain into the BC interior. Here we are today on nullschool.net. And you can see there's still some pretty warm temperatures south of the border. We're looking at 21 degrees there. I go down to California where it's been very hot, 31 still down there. But all in all, since last week, this has cooled off quite considerably. And the big story is going to be how this is going to be moving in. First, we have two big storms coming in, and then we get the joy of this sort of Arctic outbreak, the first Arctic outbreak of the season. And if that sounds scary, don't worry. The coldest place in the northern hemisphere right now is in Greenland. It was like minus 30, and the coldest place in Antarctica is minus 54 in the center of the continent. So by no means are we looking at extreme weather, but we will see some snow. The first big snowfall stories in BC of the year, and some of that snow is going to stick in some of the places like probably here in Wells. It looks like things are going to stay somewhat cold, but right now the jet stream is aiming right at us, and you can see that Pacific moisture coming in full throttle. Jet stream moving right over somewhat north of Prince George. High pressure in the continental United States towards coastal United States in that desert area, blah, 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 is forcing this up and around. So definitely, this is looking ahead to Saturday. Bam, this is the big story right here, is this break of cold air that's going to come in. This break of cold air that's going to come in behind all this. And in behind that cold air is going to come another Pacific storm. And the two are going to cooperate to give BC some really shitty weather. So first big Pacific storm impacting into tonight. By Thursday, things starting to dry out a little bit and then clear out a little bit by the weekend. But this is the big change in the forecast, is we were expecting it to be cold but sunny next week. Well, no, that's not happening anymore. By the time we get to Sunday, temperatures start to drop in. You can see that colder outbreak of Arctic air moving down towards into British Columbia, into Alberta. And if you think we have it bad, there's places in Alberta, like say east of Brooks, southeast of where Bannon Houck is, where they could see 70 to 80 centimeters of snow over the next 10 days. So don't complain too much yet, British Columbia. And we go by Wednesday the 25th. That cold air sitting right all the way down, touching into Montana. High pressure in Ontario, Quebec area, but Northern Ontario definitely getting some precipitation will be going on there. That cold air in behind it, that'll bring snow all across the west. And maybe some to the east, I don't know. I'm not forecasting for the east though, so let's just stay on topic. That's looking all the way to 27, so that's a far ways out. We don't, yeah. Avalanche Canada is talking about this week. Atmospheric river take aim at the west side of Vancouver Island today. While there's still some uncertainty, central and northern Vancouver Island are most likely areas to see some heaviest rain. Rain will spread to parts of the interior tonight, mainly affecting areas from Blue River to the Cusp. Strong winds will buffet the central and north coast today as well. Rainfall and wind warnings are in effect and can be seen here. The front will weaken Wednesday and rain intensity will ease, but don't expect things to dry out completely. Periods of rain on the coast or showers in the same area of the interior as above will continue Wednesday and most of Thursday. So we see Wednesday, Tuesday into Wednesday, big time precipitation for the coast. Along the Rockies and the Columbias, a little bit of that as well. By Thursday, again, still some overcast, some precipitation into the interior. Friday, we're going to start seeing that move north and out. And by Saturday, the cold air is starting to move in. You can see those blue lines, that's the cold air. So you want to know where it's going to be the new rain accumulation. Rain accumulation next 3 days, mostly towards the west coast, a little bit in the Rockies. Well, let's go the next 5 days and then to the next 10 days. So that's rainfall expectations only. Well, let's put on new snow instead and look at the next 10 days. And that's a significant amount of new snow expected all across mountainous areas of British Columbia, most especially. So anyone who's living down in these lower areas, probably not going to see much for snow. You may touch freezing. For those of us who live in higher places, like say here in the Cariboo Mountains, Whistler probably going to see some snow. Coast Mountain's going to see a lot of snow. What's this one going to say? It's going to say 67. Well, I was talking about down south of Medicine Hat, south of Brook, 75 centimeters, 73. Some big time snow the next 10 days expected in Alberta and through the prairies. So they get their first big time snowstorm for sure. And we'll just check out how that storm rolls up into the coast today and into tonight. So the time this comes out on YouTube, it'll probably be 13 o'clock. So it's already raining pretty hard. First big pulse hitting some of those northern tips of Vancouver Island. That's going to be a heavy, heavy rainfall there. Burst of rain, some snow in the Coast Mountains up towards Prince George. Could see a heavy burst overnight by Quesnel, and a little bit of rain here in the Cariboo Mountains, here in Wells. Squamish getting hammered. Port Alberni, just near there, getting drowned, just absolutely drenching rains, incredible rains. And where's that coming from? Look at this long ribbon of moisture. That's what we call an atmospheric river. And this is a strong to moderate one. So I expect we'll see some kind of flooding stories somewhere. Although a lot of the places on the coast aren't that inhabited. So, you know, so much will happen that we aren't affected by out there, I'm sure, in the coast mountains and ranges and places. Here we go, Wednesday evening. Still raining hard up to Iqaluit. Vancouver's seen some big rains. Some of the biggest rain they've seen so far this year. Out by Stewie and Bella Coola. Some big rains out there. That ribbon's going to come across somewhere in the North Cariboo and then into somewhere, traverse through that Yellowhead corridor, start making its way out of the province by Thursday, finally. Conditions beginning to ease a little bit. But this is the problem, is that's at this time we start to see the first hints that temperature's going to go down. Well, down to 4 degrees in Quesnel at night, 4 degrees Prince George 3, 2 Burns Lake at 3 in the morning. Oh, anyone seeing freezing that night? No. Close, probably. Stewie, freezing. Most of the places freezing though are in the mountains. Another series of storms by Saturday the 21st of October off the coast. And the high pressure that's going to help usher in the cold air, sucking down this way, goes high pressure goes clockwise. So high pressure, all this high pressure is going to help us down. It's going to block some of this for a little while. The thinking beforehand was that it was going to block it enough that we'd have fairly sunny conditions for the next week, albeit cool. That is no longer the case. It looks like things will be even cooler than we expected and going to be a little bit snowier than expected. So already Saturday night, I'm sure Fort Nelson's going to see its first couple bands of snow of this next forecast period moving through Saturday night. Sunday in the morning, low pressure developing, mostly along the Oregon coast. That high still blocking things, but it's going to eventually squeeze out. It's going to try to find its way back down to where it likes to live off the California coast, I'm supposing, because this low pressure is trying to break in. We got all this cold air in behind. Minus 25 is some of that up in the Yukon. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's not unusual. These are the kinds of things that you expect to see in the fall, although this might be a bit of an onset early for a little bit colder than we like. By Monday afternoon, we already see northern BC up into the Pine Pass getting snowed on heavy. Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, they're going to see some snow at that time for sure Monday. Well, look at the corridor down from Prince George to Valemount. That highway will probably be treacherous on Monday, the 23rd. Highways in southern BC going to start becoming treacherous by that time, and that's when we see this low really start moving in. We had that high pressure blocking, but then that high pressure slips low, like I said, and then that storm moves in. Monday, the 23rd, we're looking now a week away, so this is, these aren't exact figures, these are good guesses, but that's when that storm starts to really move in. We see the coast of British Columbia getting absolutely splashed on again. Noon on Tuesday, just a mess everywhere. Just a mess everywhere. Certainly everywhere through eastern British Columbia, certainly everywhere through western British Columbia, and we're going to have it spill into the drier parts of the province. So you're going to see a mix of rain and snow in places during the day, and that low is going to sort of follow that high down southeasterly, and we see that cold air. Williams Lake -2 overnight, -2 Quesnel. So people are going to see snow. Everyone's going to see a bit of snow at some point. Mostly Wednesday too, we're looking at like that's going to break into some of those drier interior places. That's when you're going to get your turn. This is the 25th of October. How reliable is this forecast? Well, it's subject to change, of course, right? So this just gives you an idea of where the models think we're going. We've looked at two different models today, ECMWF and a little bit at the GFS, and they mostly agree. So that's telling, right? And it will be sometime after the 25th of Wednesday, maybe that begins to move out, but we see that's when the prairies are going to get absolutely hammered with snow on Wednesday. You see the prairies start sort of on Monday, starts as rain in south, but then that cold air really starts slowing. The low drops down all through northern Alberta. Now it's hitting overnight to Edmonton, snowfall out to Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, Saskatoon starting to see snow by noon on Tuesday, into southern Alberta, Calgary now seeing it Tuesday as well. Now all of southern Alberta, all of western Alberta. Until you get to the parallel line there, or not the parallel, whatever line. 25th, heavy snow in southern Alberta. So, we could see several feet of snow falling in this event in southern Alberta. So they're going to get the worst of it. Saskatoon, it looks like you're going to get some bad. There could be some freezing rain, wintry mix, that kind of bullshit. So I hope that was at all helpful in looking at the next week of weather. How come British Columbia is going to see first a whole lot of rain, and then it's going to see a little bit of cold, and it's going to see a whole lot of snow. But it's not going to be us that sees the most snow. Man, Western Canada is going to get slammed. This is the first big snowfall story of the year. Try to make do as best you can. I'm Joey Olney, Caribbean Weather Dude. Thank you for coming by this channel. Please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye now.